Okay, we're back, guys, and I just got the replays. I'm not going to say from who. I don't want to give spoilers away from this. They've also been given to me in a spoiler-free order, so I don't actually know if this goes to Game 5, Game 6, Game 7, etc. But I think we're about ready to go. So let me get this all set up. We got, again, Take TV joining us here. Naruto for German. Wardy, I offered, said you could totally stay around and cast this if you'd like, but he says he's feeling a little bit tired and maybe wants the rest. So thank you to Wardy. Again, so much. I saw you guys spamming his chat with base trades and love. Thank you guys for helping us. Give him a bit of thank you for his assistance today, getting to cast the other series and the other games. But we're going to hop into this in only just a second because, unfortunately, GameHeart does this really annoying thing where it, like, auto-displays things, so I don't want to, like, again, I don't want to do spoilers. I don't know anything about how this goes. All I know is that this is Game 1, and I can't show you guys because of the spoiler thing, but Bunny is using the tracer icon from Overwatch just to let everybody know. But, all right. This is going to be Game 1 in a brand new best of 9, and I don't want to try and, like, pull the wool over your guys' eyes. I do want to stress that this is a replay. These are all going to be replays, but they've just played out, so this is about as fresh as they can be. We had to do it this way, unfortunately, because with all this rescheduling and dancing around the NAU All-Star Show match, you had Bunny who couldn't play late, and you had Neeb who couldn't play early. It made that they had to play at one specific time, so we knew this was going to be a good match either way, so we said we'll have that one be the replays and we'll cast it afterwards, because replays or live, I'm pretty sure this will be enjoyable. But we're getting into Galactic Process. This is made by the map maker New Sunshine. I'll talk about the actual cool layouts of the map in a moment, but in the top right side, he's defending North America's honor. It's going to be the red Perodas Neeb. And in the bottom left, it's going to be the blue Terran Team Liquid's Bunny, the last Team Liquid member remaining in the tournament. Now, I don't actually know who won the coin flip. I don't know the order in which they played server, but do keep in mind that the preference here was losers pick for the maps, but also losers pick for the servers. So you've got Bunny, who's European, Neeb, who's North American. They're both pretty good players. They're both really well-mannered players, too. So I imagine dancing back and forth between the two servers won't be too big of an issue for them. But this map is very much like Cloud Kingdom, those of you who remember the map from way back when. Very similar layouts and very similar designs, but they've added some cool features. There's this like tasteless banana secret hallway, whatever you want to call it. Zongrip and I have discussed through several casts on this map how we don't think this will be used by many people. I would say in a PvZ, it's the one option I think there'd be opportunity, but the reason is these hallways lead directly into the natural bases. So hey, that's a tunnel right to your opponent's, like, the heart of their base, but there's rocks, and it's a really long distance, and it's outside the rim of the map, so just moving across with, like, a warp prism would be so much more effective in a lot of scenarios, dropping with overlords or medevacs, you name it. I think what was, for me, I wasn't really around. For those who don't know, I really got into StarCraft 2 like around HOTS, like a little bit into HOTS, and back in Wings of Liberty, I've seen those VODs and I've seen those games and I've constantly heard the stories of them. And back then, every time I saw that sort of hallway taken on, I can't remember what the original map was. It was on the stupid nightmare pool. Oh, I'm having such a brain fart, guys. You guys will have to tell me in chat. But the point is, the maps that we got to see on that was like, I felt like back then, that was before medevacs had boost, that was before overlord drops were really viable in any situation. It was before warp prisms had speed or the ranged pickups. Like, there's just a million reasons why there's better opportunities now. So I think it's cool that they chose to include these, and it's almost a bit of a throwback more than anything else. But I really, truly don't believe that even if this map made it to the ladder, we would see these used too commonly or even effectively. Regardless, chasing off the Reaper right now being a little bit annoying, but Neeb responding fine. Bunny I actually want to talk about quite a bit for this, though, because Bunny is still, in my opinion, one of the better Terrans out there. I don't know, this sounds funny to say it like that, because he's really been out of it. Like, he's been focusing on school, he's very intentionally not been playing a lot of tournaments. He has played in a couple of things, but for the most part, it's not really been him being super active in StarCraft like he was in the past. So I really can't say he's like an amazing Terran right now. But the point of this statement I'm going to make, though, is like, even though he hasn't been playing much, and even though he hasn't allegedly been practicing much, he still came out of nowhere and just like won a couple of tournaments with us easy peasy and made it look easy. Matcherino, Corsair Cups, you name it. And his series that he played versus Kelazura was a really epic TvT that got perhaps too close for comfort, but was still a great series nonetheless, and just made me, again, smile when I get to see people like Bunny play. Wardy just hit us up with the host, so thank you very much, Wardy. Shoutouts and hellos. But this will be the last best of 9 cast today. So we see some people in chat commenting on like wanting to see when Scarlet's going to play. For those who missed it, Scarlet forfeited the tournament. This was her choice, and so she is now gone and will not be competing in this at all. Bly took her place and lost to Euthermal, but Euthermal was kind of like a monster today, so I don't know. Maybe that was like a good thing. Maybe not. I don't know. Blink starting up for Neeb. So playing Bunny some praise. I want to actually give Neeb some credit too. I think a lot of us know Neeb looking so good. I mean, top finishes, close to finishing a DreamHack. Of course, almost winning Austin. Just in general, being one of the best North American players, period, right now. What makes him so great though is he doesn't have a lot of these crazy tactics and proxy builds, even though he's done them. Talk on that point later. What I do like though is he's really good at responding to things. Like, this is something where the mentality of like a Zerg player meets the body of a Protoss player, right? Like, Neeb has just been so good at dealing with situations and never really getting caught off guard by too much. And that's what's really locked him down as being like one of the best Protoss players. Even here immediately, he wanted to go for the pylons. That was the right choice, but wasn't sure if he'd actually finish them in time. So a little bit awkward as he has to pull the probes away from the mineral line. And that Liberator from Bunny will set up some time for denial. Other side of the map, the observers are just simply scouting for the time being. They do see that third CC down, which is going to be a nice scout because Neeb now knows there's not a big follow-up coming. If you see this Liberator deny this mining, I think you get a little bit frustrating because you think, oh, damn, like I'm not going to have anything, and he's going to have a big army coming my way in just a moment's time. Stalker manages to find this one little sweet spot, a pixel outside of range of the Liberator. This pushes us back. 4 Stalkers kill the Liberator straight up. Nicely done. And we're going to have the probes go back to mining here ASAP. I guess some got transferred over to the third, which is not a terrible alternative. Zelnaga Caverns, thank you guys. Oh my gosh. I don't know how I forgot the name of that for a moment. I knew it was something Protoss-y themed, but I was like, come on. Well, I guess Zelnaga's not technically Protoss. Protoss are technically Zelnaga, though. All elephants are gray, but not all gray things are elephants. This is how I operate when I solo cast. My brain just goes scatterbrained. I guess there are 2 different dynamics of that, right? Like, if I'm casting with Zombie Rub and we get, like, silly mode, the cast gets super ADD and not at all relevant to what's going on. But if I cast alone, the same sort of thing happens, just in a different color and a different manner. So I'm left to my own thoughts, and that's a dangerous thing. Now, actually, with Blink being done, the observers are set up, but he sees that there's tanks set up, so he's got to be careful where he blinks in with the Stalkers. Last thing you want to do is blink into a tank. You'd rather blink on top of the tank instead. Cyclone down here to the south is a little alarming, but I don't think it's actually going to be able to kill the Stalkers. In fact, there we go. The Marines might just do it. Neeb caught off guard by this attack, decides to blink into the tank and says, rather than trying to escape, I'll do as much damage as possible on the way out. So picks off a couple of workers, or not even workers, excuse me, units, as he does get out of the base. Liberator sits up here to the north once again and looks like Bunny. Oh, I think this is barely alive too. 12 health. Will get focus fired down. It's interesting to me that Liberators do just barely like 51%. Not even. It's like 50.5% of like a Stalker's health in its shots. It almost takes 3 shots to kill a Stalker, but not quite. Upgrades leader, of course, vastly changed that as Liberators become incredible powerhouses and the staple of the Terran army right now in this matchup. But, uh-oh. What? I guess, yeah, because it's replays, we don't have to worry about players cheating and spoiling. I just don't want to restart the stream. So, I'm not going to be putting a delay on, but if TakeTV does, don't bring spoilers back to the channel, guys. Please, please. As much as I would love to have no delay for a cast, it's just like, hey, we're already into it, and I feel like with my plethora of technical problems, I'd rather not dance around the stream not restarting properly off of delay and no delay, etc. Anyways, Warp Prism didn't really get a lot done. I gotta give credit to Bunny. He's done a great job thwarting a lot of this. For Neeb's sake, though, he has had vision on a lot of this and everything that's been going on for Bunny for a long time. Like, these observers have been floating over his army and his base since pretty much the first one got sent across the map. So it's a little bit more shocking that Neeb hasn't been able to find those entrances and exits, knowing exactly where his opponent lays. That being said, +2 weapon upgrades, but also +1 air starting out for Bunny, and this is going to affect those Liberators more than anything else. And while Disruptors and Dark Templar are certainly cool, nothing Neeb has right now is really the best answer to Liberators. You can try blinking underneath them, you can try using Stalkers however you'd like, but at the end of the day, Liberators with weapon upgrades are going to start like one-shotting and two-shotting most of your army. Does hold off the push down here to the south. Attack double front here on the north side, also going to be held off. Yeah, the Widowmines do burrow to position themselves, but I don't know how much he'll get done with that. The Disruptor also causes this problem where Neeb has to be very careful If that shot misses, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Oh, the Widowmine takes out the Observer, but also hits some of the Medevacs. That's a little bit awkward. But that was his detection, so the Stalkers can't push this forward any further. He could just use, I was going to say Blink Micro to juke the shots, but he's busy warping in over here and wasn't looking on top of that. He's got the Disruptor as well, which can take that out, but I think he'd rather save the shot and use it for something else. Looks like we're going to have a lot of Adepts, though, transfer into the third base, while maybe the Warp Prism goes to the main. We'll see what ends up happening. He may just keep it there as a fast warp-in location. Either way, Neeb's defenses aren't looking too bad, but he can't spread himself too thin. And with things like the Liberators floating around the sides to threaten mineral lines, the main attack comes in through the front. The Liberators get focused down immediately. Neeb gets caught off guard by the initial attack. The Immortals now left exposed on the backside. We got a huge warp-in of Adepts coming in, and Neeb's not using that army on the left side of the map. Instead, he's just dying with everything at home. Immortals are gone. Disruptors are gone. One new Disruptor comes out, but it gets focus fired down. Doesn't get to detonate its Purification Nova. Backs away with a Medevac. Starts losing some of this army. Neeb does transfer workers in, or sorry, the Adepts in, but Liberators have been set up, and they've been slaughtering probes while this goes on. Up to 25 workers killed. Oh my god. A Dark Templar gets warped in. Photon overcharges are trying to hold on to this, but I don't think it's going to cut it. Neeb has lost so much, but starting to lose some at home. Bunny did accrue worker losses. I just don't think enough for him to be in trouble this game. Production wasn't touched. Okay, that's two very nice one of my hits, actually. The production wasn't touched. The reactors weren't killed. Nothing was stifled, just workers dying, which are easily band-aided with mules. Look at that income advantage. Even after a brutal assault like that, Bunny remains ahead. Those two-pronged Liberators did the most damage in that entire attack. The army traded for army, and it did it kind of evenly, and in fact, a little bit favorably for Bunny, but only very barely. It was the Liberators that come in the backside, the Liberators that got 20-something probe kills that really gave him a nice position in that game. Not going to try and scan, just saves it for now. Scans back at home. I guess there's some DTs coming in. Turrets are set up as well, trying to catch all these units before they get a range of detection. GG's going to get called, and Bunny will take the first game in this best of 9. Whoop, whoop. All right, we're going to get game 2 set up. Luckily, I have a little bit of more leeway with this, but we're going to go to a break here nonetheless, and we'll see you guys in 2 minutes while I get number 2 set up. I love, by the way, the chat's reaction to that game. Neeb now about to 5-1 Bunny. Oh, you guys better hope. You better hope. We're going to load into the next map. It's Annihilation Station. I actually forgot to change the title of the stream. Let me do that really quick. And I don't know, again, I don't know if Take TV, actually, I'm going to ask him if he, if Naruto restarted. Okay, so Take TV has the delay turned off. If you guys really want to, like, oh my god, I can't wait like 2.5 minutes to find out what happened in that game, then you may by all means go check out Take TV's stream. But nice. All right, so mods, if anyone comes around being a dick, spoiling, let me know the name. We'll give it to Take TV, and we'll have ultimate severe punishments. Because banning for this is like the only thing you'll really get banned for in BaseTradeTV. Like you can be a dick and you usually get timed out for a while. You get like appeal the ban or whatever, but like you will straight up be banned for life if you spoils, because spoilers are no cool. They're no good. They're not. Don't do them. But all right, game number 2 of this best of 9 on Annihilation Station. In the upper right side, we've got the red Protoss player Neeb, of course, playing for Team Ting. And in the bottom left, the blue Terran is going to be Team Liquid's Bunny. Now, Bunny is actually... Oh, I was surprised that game went so well for him, as I guess I gotta say. Part of this is like LOL Liberators, sure, but part of it really was good decision-making and constant aggression on 2 fronts. I think if he had met Neeb's army up front with like one-on-one, mono-a-mono, Deathball versus Deathball, that game may not have gone so smoothly for him. But that being said, there were some questionable decisions out of Neeb. The way he had blinked his stalkers around, engaging into that tank the way he did, it wasn't exactly a perfect game from him, and I'm not going to try and make excuses, but we'll see if he can bring it back, because jokes being said aside, like, no, Neeb's going to 5-1, he very well could. That's what makes both of these players so interesting to me. Like, I could actually see this series going one-sided either way. I don't really see this going towards, like, a 4-4 ace match scenario, but with how good they are, I would certainly guess like a game 7, 8 at least. I would be astonished if this was actually a 5-0. Or even a 5-1 for that matter. But regardless, Bunny gonna come over here and scout. Annihilation Station, I guess again, we're trying to show off a lot of the maps, not just the players. Has a very interesting natural base setup, and I don't like it, to be honest. I think the main's perfectly fine, and you've got a normal ramp and all this over here. But I think it gets really problematic when you start looking over at the fact that there's 2 entrances to your natural. So you're forced to either do a very awkward wall from your ramp to your nexus, or you have to wall off over here. Neither of which I think are entirely preferable, but what's nice is when you're playing against Terran, it's not as big a necessity. But if Bunnies realize that there's a lot of openings and a lot of space to run around, then suddenly playing against Terran becomes problematic. You got Hellions that could be running around your base, and Bunny perhaps is playing to the map, or maybe this was just a strategy he had planned in the first place. Also, just to comment on, I guess, what happened during that last break, guys, I went up to use the bathroom. While there's like a 3-minute actual break, I only played 2 minutes of commercials. So the people who are getting upset about 3 minutes of ads, you're literally talking out of your ass. And I just don't want to deal with you, so bye-bye. First blood goes down. Probes get killed. Bunny's getting a couple of nice kills to start. You really do need 4 to make the Hellions worth it. There you go. Almost gets a 5th, but nice pick off with the Adept. Pylon set up here as well, so you can overcharge if necessary, and I really thought this was actually going to be more dedication to the Hellions, not just the initial 2, but a Cyclone is what follows this up. And a Cyclone is really interesting because a Cyclone is like the mothership core of Terran units. It's one unit that can defend against one of pretty much anything early on. You bring a Stalker, an Oracle, a Cyclone, hell, even a Void Ray, a Cyclone can deal with it. Wait, did I say you bring a Cyclone? Oops. No, you can't bring a Cyclone. Unless you bring Dark Archons back to the game and Mind Control, and then somehow you've not attacked before that point. So, shut up. Anyways, the Adepts are dealt with pretty easily. Just one small note to the Hellions that I wanted to bring up, but unfortunately can't since now they are dead, was the Adept nerf. Also made it so it takes 5 hits to kill a Hellion now instead of 4, which was not incredibly influential here, but just something that was like a really interesting unintended side effect of that nerf. Celebrator unfortunately doesn't see a lot of area in which you can use. The positioning behind the mineral lines ends up being pretty nice. Yeah, well, we talked to some of the map makers too. We've talked to 4 of them. One of the things commonly said was for the thought on Liberators, nobody really put a lot of thought into these maps about like, oh, I have to make sure to leave space behind mineral lines, or I have to make sure that Liberators can't abuse these positions. But all the maps just kind of end up working out for the better that way, and there's a lot of space behind this, and a lot of the thoughts and opinions we heard were like, oh, you're more worried about drops and defending drops rather than necessarily Liberators, but 2 birds with 1 stone, I guess, when it comes to map design. I do want to point out, though, and again, just remind people, I'm sure you're sick of hearing this now, and you will not hear the end of it for a while. The map test tournament that we're doing, the map contest here, is to show off a lot of these maps so that when it comes to the voting time, public votes and all that, you guys can actually vote and help influence who wins the map contest. But for example, while one person may win the contest itself and come in first place and win like whatever the prize money for that is, it doesn't guarantee that their map will make it to the ladder. But the reason your voting counts is if Blizzard sees there's literally 3,000 people voting for the map that didn't win, they're still going to consider that map for the ladder potentially. So just that reminder, as we get closer to the end of the tournament, so does the judging phase come down for the maps. I do want to note too, we have 2 best of 11s over the next 2 days. So we have a best of 11 tomorrow and a best of 11 on Sunday. Then it should have been and was supposed to be Monday that was the best of 15, but that had to be moved to Tuesday due to some scheduling complications. So that will be played out on Tuesday. But still, 15 maps straight, best of 15, all that good stuff. And again, shout outs to the nice username who has been updating our YouTube very, very quickly. He's finally caught up. He actually sent out this tweet where he was at work and like underneath the table at work was like encoding the VODs. Tank is not actually going to be good enough to set this up for defense. Nice blink back out of Neeb. Well, there's just 1 stalker for a tank. That's not a bad trade to start. Set up on the other side of this mineral line. Bunny doesn't have any medevacs to shuffle these units around. The bio can certainly take the stalkers if it comes down to a head-on fight, but I don't think Neeb's looking to A-move into another set of units that are also A-moving. I think he's looking to just try and push this back best he can. Command Center's close to burning. SCV's going to have to be pulled to repair soon. This is kind of what Neeb wants. He wants to bait Bunny into giving something away, but now that the Command Center gets so low, it's so tempting to have just blinked under that and finished it off. But backing away, he doesn't want to give away all those stalkers for nothing, and good choice too, because that would have been an absolute annihilation of his units should he have taken that bait. But Command Center once again getting dangerously low. Cyclone going to get picked off as he blinks away. Nope, barely gets out of there alive with 7 health. Warp Prism now going to collect itself, and they are going to back away from this position. Bunny ends up holding, but man, that became so dangerous in 2 different attacks. That Command Center got down to like 3 bars of red health. Liberator sends up towards the north. Neeb actually doesn't have any pylons behind the mineral line to deal with this, but he does have stalkers on the ready. So this is going to keep that Liberator from pushing forward and actually advancing into the base. Fourth is actually taken rather quickly out of Neeb. I'd say this is kind of bold as well. You got to consider there's like a position for tanks and marines to set up here. There could be just a lot of chaos caused if in the wrong position, and if Neeb, yeah, I like the pylon coming to the top of this. Like I say, if he doesn't see any of that coming. We just got hosted by Cats. Thank you so much to Cats and Penguin. I hope you guys had a great cast with the EU NA show matches, the All-Star matches. Thank you very much for that host, man. And hello to Cats' viewers. We're casting a best of 9, and I would like to update you all so you know. We had actually worked with Cats to try and make sure schedules didn't conflict too much, and players playing in his tournament could also play in this one. So because of this, Neeb and Bunny are currently playing off of replays. These replays are less than an hour old. They are fresh and brand new, but they had to be done through replays so that we could accommodate all the players' schedules. So thank you so much to Cats for helping us work towards that. I do apologize if you guys are not fans of replays, but again, these are about as brand new as they get. It's a best of 9, so we got quite a few games ahead of us. Now the Adepts do manage to unload over here towards the 3rd base. I think the Stalkers, I guess they're dancing around at home trying to play defense. Neeb's not coming back home. Neither is Bunny, so they're both going to be playing at home with what they have for defense. 1 tank of defense over here. The Adepts probably could have killed if he had realized that was the case, but he did not know that Bunny was pushing. Bunny's going to kill the 4th base. He's going to get this one for pretty much free. Does back away with the other set of the armies. He wants to go back home. Looks like production has saved the SCV line. About 9 goes down. Honestly, not too bad. 73 probes is maybe way too much for Neeb, actually, considering the course of the things, and no 4th base being established. Blinking in, blinking away. He leaves the Immortals on that front line, though. A little bit awkward. Disruptor shot coming in, looking for hits. Barely gets a couple of units on that tail end. Meanwhile, Bunny dives in through the natural and catches Neeb off guard once again. That first game, he split him in half, and he's done it again here in game number 2. Not exactly close to winning, I don't think, and Bunny's not in a position to destroy Neeb, but he kills the Mothership Core. That's a pretty nice pickoff, but the army's dying out on both sides of this. Nice micro inside these medevacs, jumping in and out, avoiding the stalker shots on the left side. Pushes this back, and now we got the army coming through with the reinforcements. There's nothing on the other side for Neeb. No Warp Prism, no Adepts, no counterattack. He is just strictly defending. This first attack was defended, but it was at the cost of a 4th, so it's hard to say it was defended well. But this army supply out of Bunny has become overwhelming. It's Marauders on top of Stalkers. Marauders can't even fight this. Adepts are warped in a little bit desperately. No charge lots to be had. Armor upgrade seconds for finishing, but Neeb's already lost out on so much of his army. It's worth noting the medevacs are getting kind of low and might just be out of juice to actually heal anything for a head-on fight, but there's no Liberators backing this up. There's also no Disruptors backing this up. If there was a lot of Disruptors in play, actually there's 2 of them now, picks off so much of Bunny's army! Oh my god! Picks off another hit, but focus fire goes down to make sure it doesn't detonate. Bunny, who had like a 20 army supply lead, just lost all of it in that 1 attack, and now Neeb has tied up the scales when it comes to army value. 2-2 kicks in for Bunny, though, and now he's got an upgrade lead if he wants to take a fight. He's got to focus down those Disruptors, get rid of that Guardian Shield. He tries to kite back. Medevacs are really low. He's just going to run for his life, but Stalkers give him chase thanks to that blink. Now, once again, Neeb's going to try and reestablish this 4th base that he had just lost. I don't think he expected to lose it so soon, so that was a little unfortunate for him. But recovery's not too much out of the question. Once again, 75 probes is almost too many probes to have for the amount of mining he has going on at the moment. But that oversaturation can just be transferred off, and immediately that 4th base should be fully saturated up. I do want to point out, by the way, only with the 4th base going down does Bunny take a lead in income, but Neeb has been rocking and rolling and just swimming through money. He's been Scrooge McDuck diving into the vault of cash for the majority of this game. Shots getting fired by the Disruptor. Doesn't really get a great hit. This other one also not going to get too much for it. But Bunny now has 2 very awkward positions to be in. I mean, like, you can either invest into Liberators, which would never, ever be a terrible option, I think, in a TVP. Or maybe look towards something like Ghosts, because you're going to be worried eventually about Storms, but also just EMPing the shields off of a big army. But right now, with just Marauders and Marines, every time a Disruptor fires, he's going to be in serious danger. There are very few players right now who are at the quality of play where they can actually make Disruptors look like nothing at all. Pult is one of these guys. If you watch Pult split versus Disruptors, it's almost a joke. It's hilarious how much he makes Disruptors look like useless units. And he's the only Terran that we've ever cast to make it look that way. His last-minute splits are always so on point. But charge lots coming in, not quite going to be able to deal with the army. Liberators are set up as well to cut out stalkers from reinforcing in. They can't blink underneath this. The fact that we finally have Liberators assisting Bunny's army makes this a much more deadly force. But Neeb's got quite the unit composition right now, and quite the few units to speak of. He's fighting in 2 different locations at the same time. He catches Bunny off guard in the middle of the map. Medevac goes down. Guardian Shield kind of leading the army. That's a bit awkward. Disruptor shot's going to go off. That's going to kill a good chunk of the bio. This should give Neeb a decent fight in the center. He's driven off the attack down here through the middle of the map. He's got Liberators sieging up this base, however. No cannons, no pylons. Probes are going to have to get pulled away from this. Of course, Liberators can't shoot buildings, so it's not too bad for him. But now Bunny's the one behind in supply, in by almost half. 43 to 83 is not a supply count you want to have as a Terran. That's for certain. He is on another base, and he's even taking a 5th while this goes on. Neeb taking advantage of that high ground that we had spoken of a little bit earlier, but for Bunny, if he can get a couple of planetaries down, if he's mining, like, that's all well and good, but his production's really got to catch up. I guess when we look in the main, he doesn't have, like, all the add-ons for all of his buildings. He doesn't have a tech lab. He's not got tanks coming out. I do worry about him actually having enough units to fight Neeb, who is pushing for a kill move, by the way. This is a lot of adepts. There's also 3 disruptors in this army. Now, this might not actually kill Bunny straight up, but this should be able to kill the base, and if he doesn't want to take a fight over there, he can go left and south, and this planetary, well, definitely difficult to break is another vulnerable point where Bunny needs this income. He needs the money. Disruptor shots are looking too good, but Bunny's focus fires even better. The disruptor's killed before detonating, but the stalker's blinking into a planetary fortress is not going to be a good move. He does decide to walk away from this and go for the non-planetary fortress over here at the 3rd. Problem is that there's not a lot of mining, but the bigger problem is Bunny doesn't have any units to fight with. This is that production problem we were talking about before. Medevac got sniped off with a tank inside of it. The Observer almost goes down to the missile turret. Kind of funny and cute to see, but oh, that bio hit was pretty good for the Disruptor. Only 1 Marine gets out of there alive. Rest of the army getting pounced on. Stalker's just taking this game way too out of snowball proportions, and I think Neeb's done it. He's finally broken Bunny. As the Stalkers and Marauders fight in the front lines, we have a warping of Zealots walking across the map. Those charge lots are going to make mincemeat out of any bio they find in that front line. And without tanks, without Widowmice, without that proper support, there's just no way to stop them. GG gets called, and game number 2 gonna go to Neeb. Hooey. As he ties up the series now 2-2. What a mouthful. What a game. I do want to actually update people on the brackets, though, since we did just have a lot of people come from Katz's stream. Maybe you haven't seen how things look. But for the semifinals, we do have a TVT on the north side, and what is going to be a ZVT or a ZVP here on the south side. We don't know if Bunny or Neeb won just yet. But this will certainly be interesting to see. I'm going to get Game 3 set up. It's going to be on Core Hall Kill Zone. I'm going to go to a small break before we hop into it, and we'll see you guys in 2 minutes. Alright guys, we're back. Hello, thank you for watching. We're back into the series in a moment. We're just waiting on Take TV to ready up with game number 3. So again, it is tied up 1-1. Nobody knows the results of this series at all, not even me. They've been given to me in a spoiler-free format, so I don't know how this is going to look. But I do know that Coral Killzone will be the next map selected, and we're in the lobby just waiting. I may just get this going, though, if he doesn't come back soon. He went to go feed his cats. Naruto, by the way, if you guys think Zombie Grub is a cat lady, Naruto is like the equivalent of a cat lady. He is the German cat lady, all right? Like Herr Frau cat lady, however you say that in German. But he has to go take care of his cats, so that's what we're waiting on him for just a moment here. But hopefully not going to take too long. I do want to get this going, as this could be... Again, I don't know how. I wish if I could spoil this for myself, I would, and I would see like, okay, cool, this is gonna be like a 90-hour series that I could prepare for it. But unfortunately, I don't know if that's gonna be the case or not. I guess as while we are waiting, there we go. But while we are waiting, I just want to talk about what's coming up in the next week. We do have, again, the rest of this tournament to cast out. Then we got the Ting qualifiers taking again over next week. We'll be casting a lot of those. We've only had 3 finish up so far. We got both the North American ones, the wildcard group, Korean group, and European group number 2 all ready, or all qualifiers, excuse me, not groups, still to play. Then groups and all that stuff. But the BaseTradeTV/calendar has been fully updated. If you guys haven't seen it, I hope you will check it out. But we're going to hop into Coral Killzone for game number 3 in this best of 9. Spawning here in the bottom left corner of the map. Once again, he is the last Team Liquid player in this tournament. It's going to be the blue Terran Bunny, who... Man, I just gotta say, like, I really thought that game was gonna go in his favor for some time. But in the top right, he's really good at defending 2 locations at once. It's gonna be the red Protoss, Ting's Neeb. Of course, Ting's Neeb is, by the way, the only player. He is out of any Kespa player. If Zessa messaged me, I tell him, you know what, you need to qualify, because Neeb is the only player who has an invite to Ting Season 2 outside of the previous season's champions. Snoot for the wildcard group, Mana for the European group, Masa for the North American group, and Rogue for the Korean group. Neeb is the only player who has an invite, and that is because, of course, he's sponsored by Ting. Got to hang out with this guy a little bit in DreamHack Austin. Sad to say he wasn't too much of a party boy, so we didn't get to see him much outside of the event, but there's some pictures taken. He had this really cool Ting StarCraft 2 t-shirt on, and I just hope to see good things from him. I can't wait, though, for the next event where either Bunny comes to North America or I get to go to Europe again. Homestrike Cup, Take TV, invite us. Because Bunny was a pretty nice guy, and I would definitely like to hang out with him a little bit. But regardless of any of this, this map contest has gotten a lot of different directions, and as stated before, we've seen a lot of, let's say, long matches. I mean, again, Bunny just played a best of 9 that went 9 games yesterday. I don't know how he's feeling, because at the time they played this was a little bit earlier today, but I know for a fact that Bunny has a lot of issues with playing late. Like, really, like, it's 2 p.m. Pacific right now, 2:20, excuse me, Pacific right now, and he can't play past this point. Like, right here is his stopping point, so... luckily, he was able to play this all before he got to this point of exhaustion. Obviously, they have handed me the replays. I don't know who won, but Bunny, I just feel bad knowing that, like, okay, it's getting late in, like, a tournament, knowing that he's not going to be able to necessarily play at his full capacity the later it gets. But that's because he's a good boy, and he's trying to do real-life things, and give him a gold star. Neeb, however, it's the prime time for North America. I think he's on the East Coast, if I'm not mistaken, so it's not too difficult for him to play around these hours. But again, both players got to play pretty comfortably today, which is nice to see. But being the fact that it is loser's pick, we know that this game then took place on the European server and gave a little bit of preference and such to Bunny. Now, it hasn't been really influential, and even though we've had a lot of these series bounce back and forth, like Puck and Harson was a good example, Kelazur and Bunny was another, it doesn't feel like server priority has really played too big of a deal in a lot of these casts. By the way, of course, the bot, for whatever reason, is not uploading this ticker properly, but I would like to thank Eki for the 26-month resub. That's over 2 years, baby. Best mod? Maybe. He plays Zerg, so maybe not. V Triple as well for the 3-month resub. Thank you both for coming back to the channel. And speaking of Ting, we see Ting Jesse in chat. You guys may have remembered when we were casting Civil War, we made some jokes, but I would like to point out that Jesse and Jansuna both confirmed to play sometime at the end of June a sponsor versus sponsor show match, Ting versus Yord. I think that's going to be kind of funny to see, as they are both kind of around the same level of play, but we'll see just how good versus bad they are. I don't know what the stakes are going to be, but we did all agree that they should be fun. So no like, oh my god, you have to sign up for 7 years of Ting if you lose, and Jesse doesn't have to buy 17 of the most expensive watches if he loses. Like, I think it'll be pretty fun to see how that sponsor show match turns out. But yeah, give Jesse some love, guys. He's the one who made Ting happen, and of course made Ting Neeb happen. But as far as this game goes, we've actually seen some pretty, I'd say, lackluster play. The only thing I can really comment on right now is, like, I really don't think anyone's going to be taking these middle bases unless the game gets really, really, really far into it. I do like the Phoenix opener, actually, following this up for Neeb. I thought this was going to lead towards Oracles, maybe, but the Phoenix are really, really nice versus Terran if you can pull them off, and, of course, if you've got them catching medevacs around the map. But I'm surprised Neeb takes this base, and so for the biggest reason I do this is how common tanks are in TVP right now. And if Bunny puts any sort of tank aggression in the middle of the map, that reaches the mineral line. It doesn't reach the Nexus, but it denies mining. Liberators can set up here as well. So, well, maybe this is his point of going for the Stargate. He says, if I'm planning to take this base, I'll have the Phoenix count to deal with the Liberators, and maybe they can then pick up tanks. I'm personally just not a fan of this, and I can see it going wrong, but if Neeb can make it... If there's someone who's going to make this work, let's be honest, it's Neeb of all people, right? Anyways, not a lot of kills have gone down, but that Oracle's only just getting her way. As she starts getting into this mineral line, going to be doing a little bit of action. Nope, shut out by the Marines. So Revelation just going to be the option instead. I think he knows about the Widow Mine. He's been playing it really cautious. One of the really important things I'd say for this Revelation tag is Bunny's kind of hitting this point where as a Terran player, picking up 2 medevacs and boosting across the map is not out of the question. Now, this time it's not going to be with a whole army, but instead a few Widow Mines. But as we can see, Neeb should know this is coming if he was looking. All the Phoenix have to do is be in position to catch this, and if he unloads the Widow Mines, they can pick them up. This is really something that should be manageable by Neeb, and again, thanks and credit due to that Revelation. In fact, Bunny's drop is really not going to get anything done. Medevac may die. No, he's going to let that live, but the Widow Mines can't do anything where they presently are either. This other drop is a bit of a fake. as the Marines are pushing towards the north. I love this pylon setup out of Neeb, by the way. It's so out of place and so random and weird, but it saw the Marines coming. Widowmine starting to get picked up by the Phoenix. Picks up all 3 of them. Not an issue, not a problem, as he does remove them from the field. But middle of the map gets stimmed on. There's nothing here to defend it. Oracle's out of position. Phoenix are out of position. These Adepts not going to do too much. 8 probes go down already, and the Marines are still holding strong. Stim is such a good skill to have. Picks off a lot of the Phoenix, or threatens the Phoenix, excuse me, as he does back away. Oh man, all the mods are like complaining because I called Eki the best mod. I did that so I could specifically call him not the best mod afterwards, guys. He plays Zerg. We all know he's a scumbag. It's all good. But okay, Liberator sets up, and this is kind of what I was worried about happening. Now, not only does this deny mining potentially, but the Marines should be able to cover this. If the Liberator wants to just back away, the Phoenixes are really not that big of a threat. As you can see, actually just poking them in a little bit. Gets low, decides to back away. Shorty getting low. Although the Liberator is a girl, so I guess that still applies. I don't know. Anyways, the base from Neeb is set up in mining, and this has been perhaps a little bit more stress for him to defend than maybe he had initially thought, but he does defend it, and he defends it pretty solidly too. Probably Bunny's going to want to repair up this army. This is a lot of valuable units that I don't think you want to lose this early, but, you know, whatever. The Oracle going to come in and tag that Liberator. Of course, he can't shoot up, so it's just going to give chase. Ooh, might try and catch this with the Marines to the south. That'll be certainly cool if he can actually pull this off. But Neeb juking and jiving and saw that medevac with that revelation, so he won't quite get caught. The Phoenix coming in to save the Oracle, though. Doo-doo-doo! Yeah, it's a little bit awkward. Hey, speaking of Jesse, just reset for 4 months. You know, that means it was 4 months ago we did the Ting Open Season 1. That's when he first subbed to the channel. So thank you, Jesse, for being with us for so many months. But while this goes on, we've been paying a lot of attention to Bunny because this is where a lot of the action has been going down. But Neeb has been slowly doing some pretty nice macro things behind this. And not in terms of like taking a 5th and playing really greedy or anything like that, but he does have his production kicking up. He went for the Forge, he's got Blink started up. He's starting to transition away from the air tech, something he doesn't necessarily need to dedicate to, but something that will benefit him. I say tech, but I mean units, I guess. Like just having the option of Phoenix is a pretty big deal. And I guess it is worth noting, Liberators did take a nerf recently, and this is the balanced version of the game. Like, that's fully, there's been a balance patch applied. Liberators do less damage to armored units, but they still do full damage to light. So they will not be bad to have versus these Phoenix at all. But I'm surprised Bunny also takes this base. I mean, I wasn't trying to call predictions and be like the most prophetic caster of all time and be like, yeah, look at me, guys, I'm so right about this. But it's more just like, it's so intuitive to like, I think, take a base that's further away and safer than a base in the middle of the map that can be constantly pressured by either player. I mean, imagine Neeb gets a Tempest. He just parks a Tempest here, and Bunny can't reach over that wall with anything. Marines have to stim all the way around to catch it. This is a lot of freaking Adepts, though. +1 weapon upgrades is done. Bunny better have combat shields. He does. So if he didn't, he didn't stand a chance. I'm not saying it looks much better, but that's a lot of freaking Adepts with this gigantic all-in 37. 37 transfers coming in. Can't even stop this. Oh my god. I don't think Bunny has the army for it. I really don't think Bunny has the army for it. Liberties get some shots. Widowmine gets a really nice shot in the heart of the army. That might just be what he needs to take this on. The army's also split in half, so the full force of the Adepts not being utilized by Neeb. The Phoenix are just going to sit AFK in the sky, and this fight ends up going so much better for Bunny than it should have. I don't know why Neeb split his forces. He does kill 24 workers, but was that worth losing all the Adepts? I feel like the momentum he gained from this could have killed the entire army at this rate. In fact, it still just might. The Phoenixes are picking up what few units are left. Bunny's unable to fight with anything because everything's being picked up and killed in the sky. Oh, Widowmine's going for round 2 of those hits, but they're not going to go off on anything useful. Bunkers pushed down. Base is abandoned, and it looks like Neeb may have just done a little bit more damage than I think even Bunny was ready for. Widowmine's get a nice tag on the way out. I'm not sure if this is going to lock it down or not, but man, new Warpin's coming in. Bunny's only on 38 workers, and his third base isn't even mining. Neeb, on the other hand, just finished up his 1-1. He's got upgrades galore as he starts his +2 armor right away, realizing that he's far enough ahead in the game. He can actually afford a second Forge. Not something you can usually do when playing against a player like Bunny, but the command center has to be lifted. The problem is, in being lifted, it makes it susceptible to the Phoenix. He's going to keep warping in more depths. Even a Stalker comes in just to add that little bit of extra pressure. Bunny's still sitting on a fairly decent army supply. That snowball effect has certainly calmed down just a little bit, as Neeb does give him time to breathe. But in doing so, takes a 4th base back at home. And as pointed out, that Forge with those double upgrades could be deadly. Oh, quick shout out to a new sub alert, Hamel Camel. Thank you for having a name that rhymes, and thank you for having a name that's easy to say. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Meanwhile, This Phoenix really did calm down. I guess Neeb doesn't want to go for the kill move. It could be classified as greedy, and you could certainly see him as perhaps it'd be risky to push in to win. But I felt like he had so much momentum from that attack. Backing away just doesn't seem like that was the right option. Widowmine put on cooldown, and once again, Neeb's army is not fighting to its full force. Half these Stalkers are shooting a couple SCVs. Meanwhile, the Marines and Marauders are piling away and taking care of the rest of the army. New Warpins coming in, though, more Adepts on the way. Marauder count kind of falling. Marine count kind of falling. We have a Liberator starting to set up. A Widowmine gets another great hit. I gotta say, like, the luck out of Bunny on some of these Widowmine hits have been phenomenal this game. Just completely taking the shields away from a lot of these units, acting like a bit of an EMP. It's been more than what's made it possible for him to fight in a lot of these engagements. Hammer Camels is a sub ran out. Oh, I guess it's a resub. Well, you know what, man? Resub, new sub, doesn't matter. I appreciate it nonetheless. In fact, let's give you a number. What sub number are you? We 1016. Yay, we did it. Okay, we got Widowmine drops going off once again, and for Bunny's sake, I don't know that he can really get much done with these. I like the idea of it. I like the chance that they're like low-cost, high-damage units. Oh, well, the probes stacking up were a little bit awkward. Gets 7 kills. Tries to get out here with the medevac. Nope, that's not going to happen. Ugh. But even while he's picking off a couple of probes here and there, Neeb's doing more important things. He's not only taking a 5th and really snowballing his lead in the game, he's getting Storm behind this. And Bunny's army is not going to fare well versus Storm. He's nowhere close to being able to even afford Ghosts, much less actually use them. But quickly checking the income graph. Oh, God, it bleeds red. Do you guys bleed red? Hashtag bleed red. It's all Neeb, baby. This game, this money, 31 workers. Bunny just has really, it's been a real big story like the Pauper and the Prince. Like, he just cannot. He cannot, even with mules as good as they are, cannot keep up with Neeb's income. And with Neeb's income being what it is, he's going to be able to just keep warping in like 10 Adepts at a time. No problemo. Lose some of that army, boom, instantly rebuild it. But Storms, I think, are going to be what really messes this up. That's, oh my God, that's like 7 Templar. That's 8 Templar, I can count. That's a lot of Templar. Point is, that's a lot of Storms. Bunny's going to somehow have to weather this. And the problem with when you play Liberators, you don't get a lot of medevacs. He's just simply not going to have the healing to deal with Storm. Liberator positions are pretty nice, though. Storm on that front line, ready to go. Puts that force field down. Tries to catch the units so they'd be forced to fight the Storm. That would have been really cool if he'd been able to do it. Bunny trying to snipe off this Nexus, but he's not going to be able to do it with what he has here. Storm's going to hit that Widowmine. Does he know that's there? Yeah, he does. If the Stalkers are able to take out the Liberators, then the Templar could advance forward, but right now they can't really easily do this. So there we go. Blinks in, tries to pick them off. That puts them in range of a lot of the units. Bunny, though, splits out of the Storms as quick as he can. New units are coming in, trying to break the rocks, coming from behind. Maybe surprise Neeb, but he's losing out on too much of his front line while this goes on. If there was a few more units, if he had held for a little bit longer, that flank would have been amazing, but Bunny just has no army left to fight with, and once again, Neeb does reign supreme. What he runs away with, too, is not just a lack of bio units, but he lost the Liberators. He lost medevacs. He just doesn't have units he can easily... These units that are hard to replace are too expensive to replace. Look at his money count right now. He was down at 7 minerals for a minute there. He's mined out his main. His natural has no mining. It's all about that third. If that third base gets contested once more, there's no way Bunny bounces back. Maybe he lifts up the main and starts transferring over somewhere else, but I mean, like, he can't even securely take any of these other bases. I guess the Widowmine got put over here, a little bit surprised by this, so he pulls some of the units back to deal with it. Oh my God. Okay, I was gonna say, please make those Archons, because that'd be so dirty to have like 15 plus Storms ready to go. That's what makes someone hate Protoss. That's how you learn to hate a race. But this game it's got to be coming close to an end, because Bunny's down half the army supply. He's now going to be out of position with the army, with no mining and no chance to win, transferring SVs over to a base that he wants to take. These will get caught by the Stalkers. Liberator is starting to set up. Attack on the right side will get caught by Storms. Oh, that defense, so solid, so good. Stalkers to be just firing off attacks. I didn't even realize, by the way, but Blink... Okay, well, I was going to say, Blink Stalkers aside, he was on 3-3 for upgrades at the end of that game, too. Bunny really, really tried his best, but Neeb just had too much tech going his way. Storms, upgrades, armor, you name it. But that'll be a nice 2-1 lead now for Neeb. We'll see if Bunny can bring it back for game number 4. Next map is going to be Namaste. This is a really cool, really pretty map with the cherry blossoms. But we're going to go to a small break while we get this lobby set up, and I'll see you guys soon. Alright guys, we're back, and I just got to hide that timer bar really quick. There we go. Game... number 4, my voice, what's that? All right, Wait, whoops. Game sounds on, please. Game number 4 here in this best of 9. I see some people trickling in and asking, like, what is this best of? Yes, best of 9. Really want to lay it on thick. Lots of games ahead of us, potentially, even if this goes to like a 5-1. But so far, the call for Neeb to turn this around after losing that first game and 5-1 Bunny right back is so far so good. So rejoice if you're a Neeb fan. We'll see if he can keep the momentum going, though. His opponent in the top right, on his not quite anything close to his last life, but on the downside, it's going to be the Blue Terran Bunny. I could introduce that button better. Let's do this. Ladies and gentlemen, in the top right, playing for Team Liquid, it's going to be Bunny. And in the upper left, we've got the guy leading 2-1. It's going to be Ting's very own Neeb. Now for the map contest, again, a lot of this is about testing maps and seeing what looks good, what doesn't look good, what you guys want to see in the ladder, what you don't want to see in the ladder, and a lot of that's going to have to take in place with the voting phase of things. So make sure to get on Team Liquid and vote when the votes go. I don't know when the polls are open or when they should do that, but make sure you do vote. Bunny identifying you do a quick wall off is kind of nice to see. People ask about the teeth thing again. So here's the deal, guys. I could either take money from the sub pool and then like we don't have tournaments next month, or I could just try and fundraise money and get my wisdom teeth out. I'm not gonna lie, this really irritates me. I'm getting kind of sick at seeing how many people are like trying to. I don't know if people think I'm just trying to scam them or what the deal is, but like I've gone to dentists, I've seen 3 different dentists and had 3 different recommendations, and they all say the teeth, to get 4 wisdom teeth out, it's going to take between $1,500 and $2,000. I have about 500 or so right now in money that I've had saved up anyways, so I'm trying to get the other 1,500 to be safe. Now, I get that in Europe, maybe you have free dental care, and a lot of people think for some weird reason Canada's healthcare covers dental. It does not. This is money that I need, and this is money why we're trying to raise it, guys. It has nothing to do with greed. It has nothing to do with being lazy. I just literally cannot afford to get my teeth fixed right now, and it has been really tough this last week. I thought I would have at least a month and a half before I had to really, really worry about it. That's why the goal is like 38, 40 days, something to go. But these last 2 days I've had a really intense pain in my upper left jaw, so it's something where I'm really worried it's going to be sooner than later. I will say, though, on a less like Debbie Downer note, I'm really glad to see we've been able to raise $1,000-ish so quickly, knowing that if I did have to somehow take time off like tomorrow and get my teeth pulled immediately, that it wouldn't completely screw me, because I have a little bit of money to work with now. So I just want to thank you guys so much. Like I could do 2 teeth now and 2 teeth later type thing. So for those who have been kind enough to help already, thank you guys just so very much. But anyways, yeah, the map test tournament and the map contest, Team Liquid map tournament, all these things come together. I love that we were able to work with Team Liquid. I love that we were able to work with Blizzard and organize and host such a great event. And I really, again, I want to draw attention to the prize pool for a moment. Quickly reminding everybody, this is Blizzard sponsored. Blizzard put $4,000 into this to make this happen. And what was really great was initially the prize pool was set kind of high in like really like top heavy. I wanted to spread that out. I wanted to make sure that everybody who played in this could get a little bit of money and reward from it. So we were able to make it so that this was very well spread out for the prize money and not so top heavy. But again, in the finals series, there's going to be a best of 15 with all 15 maps played, and that's where it could get a little top heavy depending on whether that's a one-sided series or not. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, make sure to check out the Team Liquid page. Make sure to check out the Liquipedia. All the information's there. It's really cool, and I'm really glad Blizzard put the initiative to invest in the next season of Ladder, basically. I think we could have gotten around with less than $4,000, to be honest, but I'm really glad they were able to give so much. Plus, let's not forget, the map makers themselves will be getting paid if their maps win the contest as well. So even more incentive to help people vote, hopefully. Now for this game, nothing too really crazy has arisen, except for Neeb changing it up and going for that Robo really quick. So if it is going to be Disruptor drops, I would like to stress that Neeb and Puck are what seems to... Okay, double cancels. Neeb and Puck seem to be the only players who go for this on the regular. And I will just say, like, really quick, I love the Disruptor play, I love the Warp Prism play and the control and all of that, but there's a lot of, like, misunderstanding, I feel, when it comes to this. And I see this a lot in some of the regular games we cast, in, like, Corsair Cups, where we see people awkwardly try and execute this, and it goes poorly. And I think one of the best uses of this drop is not to get a lot of kills. It really is to keep Bunny at home. Because in the games where Neeb got to spiral out of control with his income, those are the games where this got really crazy. Oh, look at this sick micro, by the way. When the Liberator goes to shoot the Stalker, he's trying to pick it up and drop it. Tries to bait hits on top of the Disruptor as well. Gets really awkward. As he just doesn't want the Liberator killing the Stalker. Oh, dear. Almost did that perfectly. One more shot, 2 more shots would have cleaned that up. So close to finish. Oh, there we go. That's how you deal with a Liberator when you don't have a lot of units in play, I guess. But the problem was, and this was a mistake out of Neeb. I don't know why he dropped it in clear view. He revealed that there was a Disruptor. So now Bunny knows full well there's going to be Disruptors combined with his Warp Prism he has to dance around, and that's where these tanks become quite useful. Not only can they actually soak up a hit from the Disruptor, but they can pick off the Disruptors themselves. And if the Disruptors die before actually detonating, then the shot does no damage. Marines inside this bunker can also help out just a little bit. Vikings going to take out that Warp Prism. A couple of workers go down. Really not too many. Oh, did they not use the extension mod for this? They didn't. Ah, those butts. But anyways, 6 or so workers go down. Really not too crazy. Cyclone in the middle map also going to guard over here. Just going to hold control of the watchtower for the time being. But, excuse me. Credits go to Bunny. The Vikings are unconventional to see this early, but knowing that there was a Warp Prism coming, that Liberator killed a couple of probes early, but gave him all the information he needed to defend that with very relative ease. Sorry, I don't know, I got something in my throat there. Bunny's the one who's actually going to reach out to take the gold. And what is, I guess we'll say, surprising with like a question mark about this, was the very first time we cast Namaste, it was Beastie versus Lambo. And this was very quickly abused by the Terran. You have tanks up here. Same way I can see you setting up, say, Disruptors and having their shots wrap around. Stalkers sitting up there. There's rocks you can knock down as well to cut off reinforcements. The gold base is questionable. I like that there's risk involved with it, but it definitely feels like it's more risky for people playing against Terran than the Terran themselves against any other matchup. But okay, Stalker's going to advance forward. This is not a fight I think they can or should take. There's 3 tanks very well positioned for this. Sorry, I need some water. One sec, guys. I don't know what's going on here. Alright, there's a warp gate coming in, but this is not because he's trying to be cheeky with it. He wants the faster warp ins through the pylon. I don't know what the rule is for Protoss, actually. I don't play them enough to experiment. I don't know if it has to touch the pylon. I hope it doesn't, because otherwise this can be awkward. But, oh, the Disruptor on the ramp just blows Bunny away. So much of the army goes down immediately. There's still tanks being maneuvered around. This pickup drop micro is actually fantastic. Paying Neeb back for the pickup drop Warp Prism micro earlier. The Stalkers count already been weeded down pretty low, and frankly, the Disruptors alone will not be that dangerous. So these tanks and these medevacs are so far back and so well positioned, this just simply isn't working out for Neeb on this initial attack. Oh, there's no pathway back here. That's right. So he's got to walk through the tanks with those Disruptors to try and get out of here alive. Shots going on top of it. Tries to focus it down. Denies the shot once. Denies the shot twice. 3 Disruptors go down. And looks like Bunny's going to hold this position for the time being. Not a lot of workers dead, and these tanks and medevacs usually are not that effective versus Protoss, but here and now, the control's just been absolutely fantastic out of Bunny. And one thing you guys may not have noticed, he's very intentionally keeping the tanks back at max range, because what he's predicting is the Stalker blink in range as well. This is what I'm really enjoying about this. He could have dropped the tanks anywhere closer to try and get the shots, and even gotten greedy with a couple of shots in this situation, but he was anticipating the blink forward and didn't want the medevacs and tanks to get caught. So Bunny playing so cautiously was about the smartest thing he could do in this situation. Now he is looking to try and move out because he doesn't know about the warp in from the south. This has actually been kind of bad for him. With the medevacs out of position, he can't shuffle the tanks around, and he doesn't realize there's a gateway there. Neeb is, make no mistake, guys, pretty much all inning off of this. Bunny's got 1-1 on his side. 2-2 has begun. But this is kind of an end to Neeb's aggression. He's done a great job trading army for army, but his big tech units like those Disruptors are slowly coming back and really haven't been fully replaced from that initial attack.
Receiving incoming transmission.
Thank you very much for the donation, Corbin J. Check that out in just a moment. Cusp of the attack, I don't want to tab out right now. The Adepts probably won't finish up. Like, this is too low of an Adept number to just simply brute force in like that. Neeb, by the way, did break down the rocks and goes to take a third up here while this is going on. So he may be thinking of ways to try and transition out of the all-in. Maybe he just needs more money to continue all-inning. We'll see what his thoughts are, because he really has no tech behind this. There's just Blink. That's really it. There's no charge on the Zealots, no Adept Glaives. Getting stranded from the south side, focusing down top of the Disruptors, taking out the Sentry. No Guardian Shield left, and I think that might be it. GG is going to get called, and Bunny will start fighting back in the series, tying up the series 2-2. Another donation from Corbin J is $5, and he says, Windows 10 is rotting your teeth. Hope this helps uninstall them. Dude, I know you're making jokes, but seriously, fuck Windows 10. I hate Windows 10. I really, like, oh, God. The day it forced me to update, I tried to not update for so long, and it just forced itself on me. Windows 10 is seriously it is the worst thing to ever happen to my computer. I've had viruses that have been easier to deal with than Windows 10. We got a new sub, by the way. New sub alert. Thank you, Surgid. Oh, it's quiet. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel, man. And thank you again for that donation, Corbin. First donation of the day. But we're going to get into game number 5 in just a moment. Once again, going to pop off to a small break before I do, and we'll see you guys soon. And having an interesting discussion about tomorrow with Take TV's caster Naruto here real quick. So, we'll hop into Shiva. Get this map started up. He's asking about when we start tomorrow. So here's like a very serious sentiment I have, and I want to make this very clear. This is not like a public statement. This is like something I truly feel in my heart about, okay? There's a problem where tomorrow Katz's tournament is going on once again, and it will likely conflict the time we wanted to initially start. Now, for me, I could say fuck it, because I don't really care about viewers for this, and I know we'll get a decent viewership no matter what time we start it. But I don't want to completely cuck and ruin Katz's tournament with the NAU All-Stars cast. I think it's a really cool tournament. I'm glad they're doing it. And we cast so damn much, I don't want to smother other content creators who are trying to make cool events. So the argument basically coming from Naruto is like, you should just do whatever you want, who cares? And I'm trying to say, like, I could do that, but I really want to make sure that everybody's happy about this and that we don't, like, ruin viewership for one while having, like, bad viewership for ourselves as well. So regarding tomorrow's semifinals, I want to say that we were going to start at 10 a.m., but to be honest, we might stifle it. We might do it earlier. I'm unsure yet. We'll find out by the end of the cast today. But just so you guys know where my head's at with this and what we're thinking about when it comes to the fact that we don't have a set schedule. We had a set schedule. From the day I posted this, we had a set schedule. But we are trying to accommodate everybody, and we don't want to piss or even ruin other people's events. So, at any rate, game number 5. It's tied up now 2-2, and in the bottom right side of the map, representing Ting, it's going to be the red Protoss Neeb. And in the upper left, it's going to be Team Liquid's Blue Terran Bunny. We just had a really great game defending against a very scary all-in. Like, make no mistake, guys, what Neeb threw at him was going to be tough to hold, and it was impressive that he did. And I'm really glad to see this actually shine through. But as we get into Shiva, this is a really interesting map. Again, with the terraforming potential in the middle of the map, we have yet to see come into play. I would like to see a long game on this. Like, whether it's here and now or a TVZ, like a 30 or 40-minute game where bases are taken around the center, golds become more valuable, and the rocks being knocked down or torn apart really influence how players can attack into these bases. But that's a pipe dream, and we'll see if it happens. I think TVP, it's unlikely in the first place, just due to the nature of the matchup. You don't really have a lot of split map TVPs. But with Zerg versus Protoss or Zerg versus Terran, that could be the case. So what's nice to know is that the winner of this best of 9 will play a semifinals match versus Nurchio. And I think that that series could potentially, if it lands on Shiva, do that. With a best of 11 as well, we're going to see even more maps. In fact, you know what's kind of messed up, guys? I just realized Game Heart only goes up to best of 9. I can't actually do a best of 11. Like, it will just go, there we go, it'll just disappear. So, best of 9 is the most I can have on the overlay. Yikes. But yeah, it'll be a best of 11 for both of the semifinals on Saturday and Sunday. And sadly, Zomgrub will not be here for either, but she will be back for the grand finals. I think Fear Dragon will be doing one of the semifinals with me, because he's available, I want to say tomorrow. I have to check the schedule, actually, but I hope you guys have enjoyed the solo cast so far. I don't know. I don't solo cast often. I used to solo cast a lot, so it's been a while. I could definitely I'm a little bit rusty, and it's hard to dance with chat and see you guys all there on top of this. But big love. Also worth noting, we see Avax, and I know Mevis and some others were watching the tournament. So shout out to all the map makers who have been really, hopefully, getting a good taste of all of their maps being utilized by these different players in different matchups. For those who didn't notice as well, the way we did invites for this was we did make sure that every single matchup would be invited to this tournament. So there would be a PvP, a PvT, a PvZ, a ZVT, a ZVZ, and a TVT. And then we had 2 extra matchups we were able to mix in as well, which ended up being Snoot New Thermal and Lilicanine, and Theo. So we ended up having a pretty fun set of games, and we got to explore every aspect of every match on some of these games, and some of these maps. You guys are criticizing my decision. That's not how you run a business. Yeah, I get it. Like, BaseTradeTV can be so much more profitable if we got greedy with things, guys. Like, I'll talk about the game here. We got some interesting developments similar to last game, but this drives me nuts. Like, there's so many instances where, like, we could lower prize pools for tournaments. Like, for Blizzard, right? The initial intention was like, hey, we'll give you guys, like, $4,000 to work with. You guys keep, like, $1,000 in cash, so we make the prize pool $3,000. They're like, fuck that. Let's make this really awesome. Let's make a $4,000 prize pool, right? There's a lot of times with Match Arena where we waive our casting fees in favor of making sure that they take nothing away from the players and that all transaction fees are completely removed. Like, I fully understand I could run BaseTradeTV as, like, this greedy money machine better business, and I know the ways to do it. I'm not blind to it. But for whatever little power I have to try and grow things out, I would rather see some other tournament flourish at our own expense unless there's sponsorships, like money and stuff involved. Like for Ting, I'm never going to try and do this with Ting. Ting wants the most viewers, and Ting wants to see people use their service. But for something like this where we got a bit of flexibility, and Blizzard's all about trying to save StarCraft, you know, hashtag save StarCraft and all that, like, it's the worst it's the worst business decision, but in my mind, it's the better decision to make. So, thank you guys for your unsolicited advice, but this is how we've been doing things for 3 years, and this is why I don't have money to pay for my own wisdom team. Anyways, double disruptor drops coming out of Neeb as he moves across the map. Bunny has an admirable amount of defense, and once again, with 3 siege tanks, he should be good to keep this from getting too crazy. I can't say for certain that this will be an easy mode defense like last time, but Neeb's not going to find a lot of opportunity to really use these disruptors. You can see already under fire. He's going to kill one of the siege tanks for it. Not bad. Doesn't lose the Marines. Could have maybe chased into that. It's always it's a tough call to make, but the Vikings coming out in 2s to deal with the Warp Prism. This is what shut it down last time. If you guys recall, the big scout was Bunny getting that disruptor and that sort of weird dance. But the Cyclone comes out on one side. I don't think you're going to be able to catch that with the disruptors. You're going to have the Vikings pop out in any second now to deal with the Warp Prism. The Cyclone, unfortunately, does get too close and does die. SCV is getting scattered. Not a lot of death over in that mineral line. Yeah, tomorrow. Oh, there's Fear Dragon in chat. What's up, Fear Dragon? Shoutouts. Yeah, he says he's casting them. Okay, cool. I couldn't remember off the top of my head if it was Saturday or Sunday, but it was going to be one of them. Fear Dragon, of course, has been helping cast a lot of the North American stuff. You guys hopefully know him on the channel by now, but if you don't, just small shoutouts to him regardless. But okay, shots getting fired, and looks like that Warp Prism, even with its speed, will not escape the wrath of these Vikings, which is kind of insane because the Warp Prism moves so fast it always should escape the wrath of Vikings. The Disruptor's currently on cooldown, so not a lot it can do, but the Vikings, if they stay clumped up, will die to the shot. It does more than enough damage. He's running away just to try and distract. Well, this does distract one way or the other in the main. Doesn't quite get the shots. Neeb is moving out. Now, this time around, it's a little bit different. Neeb puts down his 3rd before the attack, not after the attack. But furthermore, there's no upgrades still. Like, there's no forges. There's not going to be a resonating glaives. We don't see Zealot Charge on the way. This will be interesting to see how this fight goes down for Neeb. He doesn't even have great reinforcements on the front line. There's no pylon, even no Warp Prism, especially as it died. But the disruptor shots scatter the bio. They can't quite concave on top of the stalkers. The tanks are getting some fantastic shots once again, however, and looks like Bunny will hold this position on his 3rd. But this is that position where, by the way, cooling towers could come into effect. We saw Nerdshio do this when he was fighting against Mana. He knocked down the cooling towers, he cut off reinforcements, and he gutted a 3rd base all in the process. But Neeb's got the Warp Prism coming around the side, and this has got the Disruptors in it once again. Looking to continue the harass he had earlier. Will kill one of the tanks. Boom. Picks up the Disruptors, starts flying away. Vikings gonna take care of this again, though, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. I thought there was an Adept waving for a second. Like, I don't know, I'm blind here, guys. Corner of my eye type thing. They're gonna have to walk back to the main part of the army. The army size for Neeb is pretty big. Resonating Glaives starts up. Resonating Glaives and a lot of Adepts can bully their way through tanks and this kind of bio, but man, this is for Bunny a pretty entrenched position that he has to defend. He's really invested in making sure that this base gets away with this. His production was a little bit delayed because of this. His barracks only just now coming down and finishing up, which means reactors and tech labs will be late. He scans the third to see that this isn't going to be as committed as I think he was afraid it initially was, but it is still very committed nonetheless. He wants to break him. He wants to kill him. Blinks in and kills the tanks. Disruptor's heading to the backside. Marauder's going down, and Bunny losing out on all of his army. He's pulled the SDVs into this. He's starting bleeding out the Stalkers, but his army has died in the process. As Neeb gets reinforcements in here, maybe he turns this around on him. And yep, as we see, both players forced to disengage. Bunny losing 16 workers in the process, however. He's going to drop those mules, try and band-aid those losses. And looks like, yeah, during this small engagement, actually, Bunny was doing really well for income until he had to take that fight. Unfortunately, though, it looks like this might just be the end regardless of this fight. We got the Liberator setting up on the ramp. Maybe he could pick up the command center, but I don't think he saves it. The Stalker should be able to focus fire this down. He's going to try and take a fight instead, but really the CC dying would almost be game itself. It's going to fly away. It looks like it will barely live, and maybe Bunny recovers off of this, but his army supply, it is matching Neeb's. Oh, nice pickup at the last second. Doesn't lose that army. He's got wind mines coming into play. Doesn't want anything blinking forward. The Liberator gets awkwardly microed to that front line, however. The Observer also sees these wind mines, so they're not going to get hits they want. He's trying to focus down that Observer. Not going to happen. I think this is it. Neeb's pushing in for the win, and Bunny doesn't have much left. He does have 1-1, but 1-1 on like 4 units. The third base being shut down. I guess it did die, by the way. I thought for certain it was going to float away to safety. What's the command for that? It's like Shift K? Shift K. Yeah, the orbital, in fact, did die. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. That looked like it was going to get away with it for a moment. Well, Neeb is on a fourth base and definitely starting to spiral out of control. It was tied up 2-2, and maybe Bunny takes some really sick fight. Neeb stops paying attention. Widow Mines hit. I don't know, but this Disruptor shot coming in for round 2. Catches a Marauder. He does a flip. Do a flip. Army's going to chase back. There's no concussive shells on this army. He's taking some pretty big hits. The split wasn't too bad, but the medevac count just really isn't here. And normally, Marauders walk all over Stalkers, especially when you've got an upgrade advantage. But the blink micro out of Neeb, keeping these alive just barely, but just barely enough. The army's starting to bleed out, and looks like Bunny, well, his numbers don't look so bad, but he never has everything on the front lines. Like, this is actually a really interesting situation. Neeb, without a doubt, has money to throw away at this. And maybe he just suddenly warps in, like, a bunch of extra gateways and just... Yeah, there we go. Gateways finishing up here. It just lays it on thick with the Adepts. But he's really just... It's not even about what's on the field. Look at his bank. Like, Neeb could at any point warp in 10 extra Zealots. Boom, that's like 20 extra supply. Easy peasy. The Disruptor going to get focused down as he chases through that. That does cost him units, though, as the Stalkers pick off what little bio there is left. I don't know how long Bunny can hold on for, but he is holding on for dear life. He did send 2 Liberators across the map, and he's hoping to do a bit of damage and maybe shut down Neeb's income. But with 4 bases, 2 Liberators can't cover all of them. Although maybe this is where the epic comeback comes into play. Neeb not paying attention. These just float directly on top of the mineral lines. 6 workers go down immediately. More shots over here on the left side. Istaroon just resub for 19 long months. Thank you so much for that resub. If Neeb knew that Bunny had nothing at home, like, he could really just push up there and win. There is like a handful of Marauders. No tanks, no Widow Mines. There's just nothing to fight with. The Liberators did good damage, though. 15 probes, distracted Neeb, gave Bunny some time to breathe, and he lifts his main over to a third base and tries to get some money going once again. But, man, Bunny just doesn't have money, guys. He just does not have money to work with. In fact, I dare say I'm scared to press the income button. Yeah, it's all red as expected. Yeah. You see where the Liberators hit, too. And the dips in army size, but... Alright, Stalker's coming on in. Again, less than a handful of units to hold off against these. He does have level 2 weapon upgrades, but it's on such a small amount of units, it's hard to say that that's going to be relevant. Bunny, Bunny, Bunny. GG. Neeb going to take a lead now, 3-2 in this best of 9 series. Geist hitting us up with an 11-month resub right there on the tail end of that game. Thank you so much. But, okay, again, small ad break while we get this next series set up, lobby and all that. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Sorry, that went the wrong direction. Sorry, fam. Rip ears. We just had Welmu host us, by the way, so thank you, Welmu, and shout out to all of Welmu's viewers. If you're just tuning in, you joined us here for a pretty good TVP. I will say I kind of like Welmu's TVPs, though, if we're going to be honest. Regardless, though, this is going to be game number, oh Jesus, 6? 3-2, okay. Had a severe brain fart there. 3-2 in the favor of Neeb in this best of 9. So this has gotten a little bit more back and forth than I expected it to, but I'm glad it is going back and forth, and this isn't some sort of lame 5-0, 5-1 stomp. But once again, because he just lost, we find ourselves on the European server for this guy. In the bottom right, it's going to be Team Liquid's Blue Terran, Bunny. Not behind by much, but he's behind. In the upper left, playing the lower left earlobe of Flame Juggler's monkey-faced map, it's going to be the red Protoss Neeblet, aka Neeb, sponsored by Ting. And if you guys don't see the monkey face on the map, because this was a big point of contention when we first cast this the other day, I don't know what's wrong with you, but my best suggestion would be tilt your head slightly to the right and look at the minimap. This is 100% a monkey face, and anyone who doesn't see that is crazy in my eyes. But people are asking, where's Zombie? What's going on? So first off, again, reiterating for everybody, these are replays, but they are replays from like less than an hour and a half ago. These players, unfortunately, just due to timing and schedule, had to play out during one of the other series where nobody could cast it. And this being, the, like, in my opinion, the most hype matchup today, I'm really glad that we're able to cast it, regardless of whether it was brand new in live or brand new in replays. But again, brand new, nonetheless, is the point. Also, questions about Zombie Grub as we get closer and closer to the midpoint of this. Well, I guess we are past the midpoint. Of this best of 9. She's at a wedding. She won't be here today. She won't be here tomorrow or Sunday, but tomorrow I've got Fear Dragon joining me, and then on Sunday we're going back to the solo YOLO cast with a best of 11 semifinals match over there. But anyways, Bunny taking advantage of the in-base expansion, so is Neeb. I bring this up because it wasn't just long ago we saw Nurchio and Hearthstone play on this map, where very specifically and precisely Nurchio ran for the gold base right away, and Hearthstone very quickly took this as his third. I can't say that this base layout really says golds are the best, but the map is certainly interesting and has somehow been one of the more vetoed maps. It doesn't actually seem that bad to me. I just don't like the tile set personally, but aside from that, the actual map layout is, you know, the thirds aren't too bad to take. The fourth seems fairly conducive. You got the option of the gold if you want to play risky, whereas some of these other maps have really been just like, man, what were the map makers thinking when it came to the third base, right? Like what were their plans for that? But at any rate, we'll see how this actually ends up shaping up. Neeb is going for a Twilight Council in the back of his base. We'll see if this is for a big ol' Adept all-in, or maybe he decides to get really dirty and do some DTs or something. Oh, if this is a Forge for +1, I really like this. So, there's been no other players except for Naniwa, and it's weird for me to reference Naniwa because he's not super active anymore. But Naniwa was doing these really sick Adept +1 builds, and for those who don't know, with +1, Adepts go right back to two-shotting workers, two-shotting Marines, and being really abusive. If that ends up being the case, paired up with Resonating Glaives, I really like this move. Otherwise, my question is, like, why bother getting the Forge? So we might see some gateways come down soon. We might not. The Reaper is still alive, and he may be a little bit scared / tentative about it coming over here to scout. But please note, this is the only way into the base. Despite how wide and big the bases are, there's no way for the Reaper to jump up from down here or over here. There's not even a Reaper cliff. That's 2 levels of terrain difference. So the Reaper can only get up from the front in that ramp / little cliff right there. Now back on for Bunny, it is going to be +1, it is going to be Resonating Glaives, and I guess a Warp Prism to pair up with this giant Adept all-in. Bunny needs to see this coming. Not only make like a bunker or two for certain as like just general Terran defense goes, but if he plays at all greedy, like this third CC for example, could really hurt him. The third CC dynamic in Terran, by the way, is always interesting to me because like in some cases it hurts you because you've invested so much into it. In other cases it straight up saves you because you've got the third mule and the recovery process from it. But again, people are saying that they're seeing the BaseTradeTV thing in the BattleNet client. I know that's super awesome, super hype. We had some people actually take screenshots and tweet them to me. I would love if you guys would do that. Donation coming in from the Text Scan, $13.63. He says, because I'm OCD, you're welcome. Thank you so much. We also had a $10 donation on my personal Twitch alerts. Gobo donates $10 and says, it's not much, but it will help with your teeth. And you're right, man, it will. And trust me, $10 can go a long way. So thank you so much. $10 is like finishing 4th place in a Corsair Cup. There you go. All right, Liberty's going to be driven off this pretty quickly, but when we look at Bunny's vision, he never saw anything in the top left, and this is really, really bad. The +1 weapons getting chronoed is something you want to see. The resonating glaives, hard to scout, but again, if you'd seen either of those structures paired up with one another, he would know exactly what to see and how to respond to this. But Neeb's just coming across the map in full force. 1,000 minerals in bank because he wants a big warp in. He's going to have to fly away from the Cyclone initially. That kind of sucks, but with lock-on being broken, now he can start this warp ins. Now, tanks are set up, and Bunny does have a bunker down. I guess he was a little bit wary of some sort of attack. He just didn't know what type. The tanks are going to be interesting, perhaps not the best form of defense. What he really needs to do is shut down that warp prism. Eventually, he'll whittle down the adepts. The bunker will hold for long enough, but without any Vikings out, no Liberator chasing down that warp prism, there's going to be the constant threat of follow-up all-in through these adepts. Yep, there's round 2 coming in. Again, these are two-shotting everything. That +1 weapon upgrades is huge on this. The tank's getting some pretty good shots. Looks like the warp prism might go down, and he might not get another round of warp-ins. The bunker's been refilled once again, but at this point, Bunny's lost quite a few workers. We'll see if he loses even more, because the adepts are not really looking for army kills. But also, at the same time, to note, this isn't all in, and Neeb's really... it's costing him everything for this. Now the warp prism starts up right away, but the adepts are split now, and somewhere in one mineral line, warp-ins are in the other, and Bunny's going to have no mining, which means no production soon enough. These ones kind of wasting shots on the refinery because he's not paying attention to them. He is busy dancing on this side. Transfer comes over here. He really wants to shut down this mineral line. If he does actually shut down the mineral line, Bunny's in a lot of trouble. He's got mules to fall back on, sure, and as cool as mules are, it's going to be hard to come back from having no SCVs. The refinery getting picked off is kind of funny. I don't know it was that big of a deal when it comes to holding in this attack, but Liberator taking out that warp prism does finally need to remove it from play. If he doesn't, then there's no end to these adepts, and there might already be too many. 51 army supply to 33. The command center's burning. It's in the air. It could drop mules, but it can't because it's floating, and this is looking pretty nasty. But that adept number, that overwhelming adept number, if Neeb gets another 7 adepts warped in here, it won't matter that there's a bunker, and it won't matter that there's tanks. He's just got numbers on his side. It looks like he's going to finish that transfer. Oh, the slaughter of units on this side of the map. More adepts are coming. I forgot he had adepts on the left side, so he's got even more adepts than this. Who cares if there's a Liberator in the sky if everything on the ground is dead? Neeb looks like he has bullied Bunny into submission, and this can't be held. There's no way to come back from this. Command centers are floating. Good game gets called. And Neeb now takes a very definitive lead, 4-2 in the series. If Neeb wins this next game, it's all over for Bunny, and he'll move on to the semifinals. But Bunny could very well bring this back and take this to Game 8, Game 9, A-Smash styles. But it is going to be Game 7 coming up next, guaranteed no matter what. The map itself will be Palladino Terminal. And we'll go to a small break while I set the lobby up. By the way, I see why you said OCD. That's exactly 1,000. Thank you so much. Anyways, we'll see you guys here in a few moments. Alright, you know what, guys? Hang on one sec. I don't want to show my pants. Give me one sec. I gotta... What? One sec. Alright, I want to show this cool thing off again. Ugh. So we're going to take a few extra seconds here to get back into this break. But the one thing I want to show off here is this really awesome board game we have available. So I want to stress the difference of this, because some people thought this was like a pay-to-win raffle. It's not. This is like a reward for something else. So this is not like you have to pay $5 and you get a ticket and nothing else, and that's how you get into the raffle. We have a new sponsor we picked up recently called Arcade Block. And they've got this really cool option where you can get cool loot. We did this unboxing video. It's actually up on our YouTube if you guys haven't seen it yet. And we showed off all the cool stuff we got inside of it. But we have this really awesome Risk board game. It's a collector's edition. It's signed by a lot of the players that were at DreamHack Austin. You can see Total Biscuit, and some of the casters also signed it. But the point is, I want to be able to give this board game away. And what we're doing is we're using people who sign up for the Nerd Block / Arcade Block / whatever block you choose subscription, and they'll be entered in for a contest to win this. We'll ship this to you. It'll be all on us. You don't have to pay anything. All you got to do to enter is sign up for at least 1 month of Nerd Block or something along those lines. The boxes look pretty cool. They had some pretty cool gear. They cost about $20, but there's definitely closer to like $40 worth of stuff inside of it. Inside the box, Zombie Grab and I and Fear Dragon and Oli Moly have written some secret messages that only the winner will get to see. But like even Mike Morhaime himself, CEO of Blizzard, signed this. Like, there's a lot of really cool signatures and a lot of nerdy stuff, but it's a StarCraft Risk board game too, which is just in general really cool. So if you guys haven't checked that out, make sure to scroll down and click on the little Sonic the Hedgehog widget we've set up down there. Move this on this side. Hopefully it doesn't get it dirty. We don't want to take up too much time here. I'm just waiting on Take TV to be ready for this next game. Map 7 coming up, and this could be it. This could also be where Bunny turns this around. We'll find out. As if you're just joining us, Neeb has a score advantage of 4-2, and has put Bunny on at least match points. But other than that, guys, just general sponsor shoutouts. Chairs for Gaming, if you live in Canada or the United States, make sure to check out their site for DX Racer. Chair, you'll also be able to get $20 off your purchase with BaseTradeTV as the code. So I'm just seeing if they're ready yet. All right. Anyways, whenever they're okay, we're good to go. I was gonna just go through sponsorship shoutouts, but just I guess really quick again, sounding off Arcade Block, Corsair, Yord, G2A. You guys know how to deal with all that is. Okay, I'm just waiting for the thing to load in so I can hide the spoilers so you guys don't see too much. And we get to game number 7 as we game 7 in this best of 9. He is on his last life and holding on for everything. Ladies and gentlemen, the blue Terran player, Team Liquid's Bunny. And his opponent in the bottom right, leading 4-2, representing Ting, it's going to be the red Protoss, the American Hope, Neeb. Now, Neeb is actually looking pretty good. Like, this started going back and forth at the start, but these disruptor drops and his play style that he's come out with here towards the end has really been working out well for him. And we'll see if he continues down that path or if he decides to change it up. Because these all-ins, they really are risky to try and pull off, but they're very dangerous and work well when they do. Donation comes in, though, to kick off this game. Kursendarkin donates $7.89 and asks, why is 6 afraid? Oh, this is such a stupid donation. He says, why is 6 afraid of 7? Because, guys, 7, 8, 9. Although, my favorite variation of that joke is when it's like, why is 6 afraid of 7? Because 7 is a 6 offender. Anyways, yeah, so Neeb gonna come across and scout. Palladino Terminal actually has a really short rush distance, and we've talked about this where I am truly, genuinely worried that you're gonna get some matchups where this is gonna get abused. Zerg comes to mind immediately with people rushing across, players like Bly, etc. But when it comes to Terran versus Protoss, I don't really think there's a lot you can do to take advantage of it. But there's a small choke, and if you want to put a wall off in the middle, that's not at all unacceptable. It will create the extreme norths and souths of the map as the only options to get through, as you would have to otherwise break down rocks, which would take a very long time as well. So I think the same way we started seeing this come up towards the end of Orena's life cycle, you know, people started putting the depot down to block that middle ramp. We'll probably see some stuff like that had and would this make it to the ladder. Palladino Terminal is not a bad map, but I think the worst part of this really is this middle part around your natural base. It has 2 entrances from 2 different sides that are going to be equally hard to defend. And then your third, well, you can take it out here, which is not a bad place to take it. It's still out in the open. Or you can take it back here. But the problem we've learned is by taking it back here, it's easy to get trapped within your own base as your opponent sets up a concave out here and everything in here dies. So Palladino Terminal's had quite a few different games and styles of game played on it. And we'll see just how it ends up looking for this particular one. Again, just really emphasizing Bunny has to bring this back here or it's all over for him. Someone in chat asking about the thing we just showed off on stream. Optiker Sarkov 2 says, how do you subscribe to the sites to win this board game? Down below on our Twitch page, there's a little Sonic the Hedgehog widget. If you click it, it's the link that tells them, hey, you came from BaseTradeTV, and you can just basically anything after that to buy a box. To get entered into the raffle itself, all you gotta do is screenshot your proof of purchase and send us a picture through a private message here on Twitch. We have 7 people entered in so far, so right now your chances are still pretty high, and I think we got like 15 or 20 days left on the giveaway. Oh, and I also totally forgot, actually, I know this has nothing to do with this particular tournament, but this morning G2A set up this really cool thing where they're giving away 50 €10 cards. All you gotta do to enter to win is like follow the little link site that was put out on Twitter, BaseTradeTV earlier, where you just follow the channel to have a chance to win, follow YouTube's and all these things. I mean, it's literally doing almost nothing to get €10 for free, so that could be kind of cool. So I do urge you guys to go check that out, retweet and all that goodness. But that'll be going on for like I think 14 days is what they set up for that promotion. I will say sometimes I get worried about like the amount of sponsor stuff we have to talk about, but I do love that the more sponsors we pick up, the more cool promotions we can start offering. Like the codes and discounts are one thing, but giving away things for free straight up like gift cards and risk boards and stuff, that's what I love. But meanwhile, I guess Bunny just kind of setting up normally, we'll say. There's really the threat of these two openings is really daunting, and I'm surprised we don't see more people trying to wall off. I know that Zombie Grub and I were discussing how we're expecting to see more of like the bunker that hugs the command center type thing to come back, but we haven't seen that either. And not worried about playing too defensive just yet. Bunny has once again gone for a bit. Tanks, third command center on the way. And I guess one of the more key differences this game was he did get a little bit more scouting with the Reaper, but he didn't get back in there in time to see tech. He didn't see a third. He didn't see that Stargate actually come down. He was just well defended against the potential Oracle in the first place. But Neeb's changed it up as well. Neeb's not actually doing the crazy Warp Prism and Disruptor shots that he was, and that were what felt like winning him the game so easily. Nice pick up with the Cyclone. That removes the Oracle from play, and more importantly gives Bunny a bit of freedom as he doesn't have to necessarily hug his mineral lines anymore. I mean, yeah, there's a risk of a second one, but yeah, whatever. This is another aspect of the map that I guess we haven't really seen used too much. There is smoke that provides high ground vision in the back of your base. For Bunny, you'd imagine you'd want to put a depot on the other side of this as well, just so you could see if a Warp Prism was sneaking in there and warping in a ton of adepts. I gotta imagine that if you take this to the ladder, there's gonna be a number of games where like players just don't see the Terran unload or don't see the Warp Prism unload, and out comes a huge army from this smoke and people die. For that reason, I don't really like it. I love the idea that there's enough building space behind here that you could hide one tech building with relative ease, and things like Ling Scouts and Reapers wouldn't necessarily see it. But I just feel like it presents too much of a gimmick that I just see too many people getting mad / cheese / frustrated over type thing. Speaking of cheese, damn, that's a lot of gateways. 7 gateways coming on top of the 3 he already has. This is going to be 10 gateways for 3 bases. The scan does reveal a good chunk of them, but to be honest, this looks somewhat just like production. What Bunny really needs to see is these other 3 gateways coming down, and maybe even the Forge and Resonating Glaives. That +1 combo is really scary. Combat shields will prevent that from getting too out of control. I mean, the difference of an attack to take 3 shots and 2 shots is huge, but still, without combat shields and stim first, Bunny's not only going to be taking 10 health away from himself, he'll be giving himself like really easy kills to Neeb. That's where I get really worried about this. But we do have bunkers setting up. We got tanks in play. Widow Mine's even here to help as well. I don't know, guys. This is like Bunny's got a really good army supply and he's got a 3rd base mining. I am just so worried because Neeb's adept attacks have been so brutal, and just in general they're very brutal. But more importantly, he's got the Phoenix count that wasn't really revealed. And I mean, okay, you show an Oracle, that's kind of standard. You can actually build a Stargate, have an Oracle die, and never make anything again, and that would be a totally normal TVP. But the Phoenix are what makes this different. Not only are they going to be able to focus down and shoot the Liberators, they'll be able to pick off medevacs, lift units off the ground, remove a tank. I mean, Bunny can't have 3 tanks firing if they're all Graviton beamed in the sky. Which, by the way, I really feel like tanks are a unit that should not be Graviton beamable. Like, they're literally like rooted into the ground with these legs, but Adepts are just going to transfer over. There's a single Liberator set up on top of this, but these SCVs are about to get massacred. Immediately, 8 go down. Liberator gets taken out of the fight. Sentry's coming over with that Guardian Shield. It's like a free +2 armor upgrade against what Bio has to offer. Widowmine's going to burn. He's going to try and back away from this. But Bunny's firepower with that 1-1 is looking pretty damn good. And while this fight looked bad initially because he lost so much workers, his army's looking like he might actually be able to hold on to this depending on how this goes. But if he pushes too far forward, if he doesn't have cover from the Liberators and he doesn't have the Widowmines protecting him, this could go badly very quickly. But if, oh no, if Neeb transfers on top of these Widowmines, that's going to be a lot of splash damage. Boom, boom, boom. A lot of Adepts just die immediately, and Bunny takes control of this fight. Oh man, even the bunker might live through this. No, okay, it's going to go down, but the entire Adept army has been wiped off the map. The Warp Prism trying to warp into the main. Force Field's on top of the ramp! This is going to keep Bunny from getting home. There's not enough medevacs to shuffle up here to the high ground. He's going to try to, but this warp in might just be the positioning Neeb needs to lock Bunny out and kill production. Bunny's army still looks pretty good, but he can't fight in tatters like this. He can't engage the units 2 or 3 at a time. Big warp-ins coming, 10 Adepts from 10 gateways. How do you compete with that back on the home front? Bunny's production isn't even close to matching 10 Adepts warping in. The army supplies are starting to even out. We got Widowmines approaching that front line. No longer is Bunny locked out of his base, but he has lost so many units trying to even get in here in the first place. 13 more SCVs die. Luckily, there's 3 bases. Maybe Mules help bridge the difference? I don't know, but this is not looking good. The Adepts are just going to transfer around to be a nuisance. Raise the depots! Raise the depots! Oh no. Now I see what to do with the depths in the natural. No, they just cancel and keep attacking the main. This depot's going to go down. That's going to supply block Bunny soon. He's not quite in supply block territory, but if he doesn't deal with the adepts and they keep picking this off, they will be. Transferring in for the reinforcements, warped in back at home. These SCVs are no longer safe, and Bunny has been torn apart. 3 different attacks in 3 different angles. The worker count is dwindling. His army count holds strong. Make no mistake, Bunny can still take like a head-on engagement, but right now, his income, his SCV count has been absolutely just demolished through this attack. And Neeb, meanwhile, he took a 3rd. Whatever, took a 4th, no big deal. His income looks fantastic behind this on 60 probes, and he's just going to keep warping in 10 adepts, after 10 adepts, after 10 more freaking adepts. Widowmine shots have been not bad out of Bunny this game. I really actually got to say, those Widowmines are probably the only reason he's still fighting in this game. But I don't think the army can take this on. Liberator should be probably focusing down the Warp Prism above anything else, because let's not forget, it's not really the adepts that were winning this game. It was the warp-ins coming 10 at a time. Oh my god. Stabilizing for the moment. We'll see if Bunny can actually recover. Losing the command center to the air. Like, he's not chopping mules with this. He's specifically not mining with it. SCVs only just now get transferred back to the main. 10 more adepts warping in. For ire, says Neeb. This is just a little too much for him to deal with. I think Bunny's actually got those Widow Mines, but none of them are arranged to shoot. None of them are arranged to fight. Back down here at the natural, there's a lot of adepts. They're just gonna AFK. Who the hell cares? You got so many, Neeb. Who needs to control him? He's tied up the army supply now, and Bunny, which his only thing going for him was he had an army supply advantage. Liberator can't deal with anything, though. It is busy shooting adepts and not shooting them effectively. The Warp Prism finally went down, but it won't matter if he can't hold on to these SCVs. Down to 11 workers. He's going to have 3 mules. I don't think that makes up for 60 probes on the other side of the map. The army's doing its best to trade this out. Adepts are about to transfer on top of them. Liberator getting a couple more shots in, but this game feels like Bunny is just in an unrecoverable state at this point. Chasing back the last few adepts, but more come in and transfers go off, and this is just all kinds of chaos. No way to easily track this, no way to easily deal with this. The mules he had just freshly dropped, all being pushed off, all being killed. No production left remaining, new mules dropped, but this game is spiraled into crazy proportions where there's now 30 adepts in play to the 11 Marines and 6 Marauders of Bunny. Can Protoss please? Just please. That's all I can say, guys. Neeb, of course, if he wins this here and now, will knock Bunny out here on game number 7, and it looks like that might just be the situation. Yup, GG gets called, and Neeb will be the one to move on to the semifinals, where he's going to fight against Nurchio in a best of 11. This is really awesome because this could like totally be like a DreamHack finals or a DreamHack semifinals, like, well, I guess, but a best of 11. The point is the matchup is fantastic. The players are going to be great, and I am really excited to see just who is going to be the one to take that series. But we don't know if that's going to play tomorrow or if it'll be Beastie versus Euthermal tomorrow. We'll have to talk to the players and schedule and find out. But man, what a great series and what a great day. I want to thank you guys for joining us here on some crazy casting. And again, emphasizing, I don't know when tomorrow's going to be on account of the fact that I'm going to talk with Cats and try and work this out so everybody ends up being happy and that there's not a lot of problems with it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to end the stream here. We'll say some shout-outs and all that and host somebody. But before I do, I want to remind you guys about the Civil War shirts. I'm going to blatantly advertise these on stream. This is for that PvP tournament we got going on. We've sold something like 20 shirts in total between the 2 sets, which is awesome. In fact, I'm actually going to tell you guys exactly how many we've sold. Campaigns. Okay, we have sold 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We've sold 11 Team Hearthstone shirts and 9 Team Drogo shirts. The way this maths out is there's like approximately $25 then going to each team on account of these shirts, which is really awesome. And the shirts look fantastic, and you guys should absolutely go buy one. But we'll have more of the Civil War coming up, I believe, on Monday, actually. I put it on the Team Liquid calendar. I want to say Monday. But anyways, we'll play some ads. I'll do more shoutouts when we get back. Thank you guys for watching, and make sure to enter to win that risk board. We'll see you guys soon. Alright guys, thank you for watching today. It was a fun cast. It's been a while since a solo cast. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, there's so many ways you can support the stream, but of course check out our sponsors are the best way to do it. Follow the channel if you haven't already. Subscribe to our YouTube. I really want to stress this, guys. Go to our YouTube. If you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please do. youtube.com/BaseTradeTV. Even if you don't watch our YouTube videos on the regular because you're busy watching them live, the subscriber count helps us out a lot. And make sure to watch our videos if you miss them, because that's the best way to find them. Nice Username does an excellent job of cutting them up and putting them them up there. In fact, I want to show you guys just how good of a job he does. So youtube.com/BaseTradeTV. He's added really sick looking thumbnails. He's made everything look better. There's spoiler free formats on this too. Oh, one sec, I gotta play ads. Boink, before I forget. But see, by the way, 2 minutes. It's always just 2 minutes. I could go longer. I choose not to. I do 2 minutes. So fuck you guys. Anyways, oh, I just favorited my own page. But he does really awesome thumbnails now. Things look better than ever. You can click on these, and of course, there's gonna be spoiler-free content towards the end of it. So like, you don't accidentally spoil the match by just seeing it's a 30-minute long video. Nice usernames for doing a huge job and help us build our YouTube channel up and be better than it ever was. So please, youtube.com/BaseTradeTV. He's also been getting a lot of the videos up like same day. Again, I know that he was sneaking in like time at work to like do it specifically and really ramp it up. But that does wrap up the cast today. And we got to find out when players are playing and who's playing tomorrow, who's playing on Sunday, all that good stuff. So I have to go do more work. Even though the stream's over, I'm still doing work for BaseTradeTV, guys, to make sure that we got awesome games lined up for tomorrow. But do make sure to check out our calendar as well, BaseTrade.tv/calendar. You can see what's going on over there, all this good stuff. But please, 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 even if you guys have no intention to buy anything, check out our sponsors. I would really love if you check out Corsair especially. They are like the nicest, most awesome people, and trust me, if they haven't won you over yet, they have some really cool shit in the pipeline that I cannot talk about until things are finalized. But trust me, guys, check out the Corsair links by clicking on the widgets down below. I cannot really give you a hard recommendation on keyboards or mice. They're good. They're not the most amazing things I've ever used. They're not the worst things I've ever used. But these headsets, seriously. Oh my god, the fucking Void headsets are like the greatest thing ever. They're wireless. If you turn the lights off, like I've got the lights turned off, but they can light up. You can do rainbow colors and shit. But if you turn them off, these last for like 12 hours on a single charge. It's so amazing. Ugh! Wireless stuff always dies on me. These don't. The sound quality's great. The mic's a bit poopy, but everything else about it is fantastic. So please, guys, check out Corsair Gear and all that good stuff. But the last thing I would really like to talk about is just, again, thank you guys so much for your support over the last couple days. I know that I keep getting salty about this thing, and the story on this is, like, I really did feel bad about even putting this up in the first place, because I figured people would think it was all scammy and junky and whatever, but Zombie was actually the one who convinced me to say, no, dude, it's fine. So those of you guys who have contributed, thank you so much. I know some people have contributed to my personal PayPal. That's actually been added in there, so we are at $1,017 towards my goal, and thank you guys so much. But I hope this tooth pain in my top left goes away so that I can go another month without needing to get my wisdom teeth out, because if I do have to get my wisdom teeth out, that means I'm going to have to take like a week and a half off of BaseTradeTV to recover. The last thing I'll leave you with today, guys, is a funny little video I made last night where I was trolling Fear Dragon and Holy Moly. So I'm going to play this on stream and then basically leave and host somebody. So again, make sure to check out all of our sponsors. Follow me on Twitter at Riff_Kings. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Orb thing.
Yeah. Oh my god, what the fuck is this teleporting shit, man? Oh!
Hello.
Graham! Where the fuck am I?
Those show. We will fight.
Ah!